Hello, I'm David.
And I'm Lucy.
And welcome to Tudoriferous, the podcast examining lives in the Tudor era. And this time we're doing a Cameo episode, so we're not rating them, we're simply enjoying learning about someone from the past. And today?
King Joao II. Going with Joao? I'm not sure whether it's Joao. I don't want to go with John because there's too many Johns. So,
yes.
Yeah, or is it How? I don't know. I have to say, Google Translate, which I usually rely on for my pronunciation guide, doesn't do it for Portuguese. And I think Portuguese is the one you should do because it looks like Spanish and sounds like Russian. So you can be way off, which I probably am, but...
I mean, and it's not exactly a small language. I mean, there's this rather large country called Brazil that also speaks.
Yes, well, we touch on Brazil today. But, so, yeah, if any Portuguese people want to get in touch and say, it's not Joao, feel free to do so, but it'd be too late by then. We'd have done the episode.
Yes, it's up. And this is the beginning of a little excursion to Portugal. Mm-hmm. We're having spent a fair bit of time in other parts of Europe. I think it's suddenly noticed, hang on, our oldest ally, we haven't touched on as much apart from during the 1492 and all that series.
Yes.
So.
Well, Portugal and beyond, because they went beyond. They went far beyond.
Yes, in so many ways.
Yes. Well, before we start on King Joao, we're going to, and I'm going Chinese, on King Joao, we're going to go further back in time to see where this passion for exploration among the Portuguese came from. Ooh. Henry the Navigator. He was half English, so there's our English connection right from the start. His mother was Philippa of Lancaster. His great-granddad was Edward III. So he was descended from...
John of Gaunt.
I think this is going to become another catchphrase, isn't it? In the time of King Joao I, in August 1415, so just before Agincourt, and incidentally just a couple of months before the birth of the Holy Roman Emperor Frederick, which I've just happened to know because I've just been researching him. He was born 1415. Henry the Navigator and the Portuguese captured the Moroccan city of Ceuta. And I did look that one up. It's Ceuta. And over 3 days, they ransacked the place. Thus started a trend in attacking cities in the guise of Christian duty, but really it's more of a smash-and-grab raid.
From 1450... Mind you, I say that as if that wasn't already a long tradition by this point, and there's a little something we call the Crusades.
Yeah, but I suppose the Crusades... They were very much a religious thing with a bit of smash and grab on the side. This, I got the impression it was mainly smash and grab with the religious bit as an excuse. Like perhaps a belated excuse, thinking, oh God, what have we done? What are we going to tell the Pope?
I think that bridge was pretty firmly crossed when the Crusaders decided to turn round and sack Christian Constantinople because they were the wrong kind of Christians.
Yeah, they're too close. It's like Protestants and Catholics, isn't it? It's too close, and therefore they get even more angry. This destruction of Ceuta, it was quite similar to the destruction of Tenochtitlan, the Aztec city, when Cortez's men burnt it down, and they wept as they destroyed the beautiful city. Because one Portuguese man said, "Our poor houses look like pigsties compared to those of Ceuta," unquote. So, it looked better than where we lived, so we burnt it to the ground. Yes. And I would just say, a little side note before we start on what will be 3 episodes on the rather sorry story of European exploration, that it doesn't have to be like this. We've become inured to the idea of the voyages of discovery involve violence and forced conversions and perhaps a little light slavery. Chinese voyages of the early 1400s, so around this time, 1415, they did none of those things. They brought things to give. And that way they were saying, we're so powerful, we don't need to take. We've got everything we need. In fact, we've got too much. You can have some.
Yes.
Admittedly, they didn't have the religious angle, but they were just exploring, just wandering about, really.
Yeah.
But it just shows it is possible to do these things peacefully. It's just that the Europeans chose not to.
Yeah, it shows a certain level of confidence on behalf of the Chinese, and therefore maybe a certain level of lack of confidence on the side of the Europeans.
Slight insecurity. Yeah, we'll hit you before you hit us. Mm-hmm. But we weren't going to hit you. Well, that's neither here nor there. We've hit you now. It's too late. Anyway, this move on North Africa stunned the rest of Europe. Who were these Portuguese? They were a poor subsistence country reliant on fishing, whose kings were too poor even to mint their own gold coins.
Yeah.
Portugal had suffered because they weren't on the Mediterranean. Oh, they still aren't on the Mediterranean, but they probably don't suffer from it now. They were shunted off to one side on the Atlantic, because most things happen around the Mediterranean.
Yeah, up until this point.
But navigating the Atlantic did give them the edge on those fair-weather Mediterranean sailors, as far as exploration was concerned. They were used to going out into the great unknown and rough seas and a place where you can't actually see the place you want to get to from the place you've left.
We've got to deal with this every time we go fishing. You're used to the Mediterranean. It's like a bath.
It was in the time of Henry the Navigator that Portuguese sailors started a tentative exploration of West Africa. They sailed in caravels, which were based on an Arabic design. They've got triangular sails, which allows them to sail much closer to the wind than square sails would have done. So it massively increased their ability to explore.
Ah, okay.
I'm not an expert on sailing, but being able to sail, I think the square ones allow you to sail more or less in one direction, whichever way the wind allows you to sail. But if you can tack to either side of the wind, you can go in more directions. There, I'm sure plenty of people will say, what are you talking rubbish? That's how I understood it. They were sailing to places like Gambia and Senegal. We heard that Perkin Warbeck might have sailed from Lisbon to Senegal. It's not impossible.
No.
I mean, we don't know of anything that man did, really, but it's not impossible that he did it.
Oh, that's a story waiting to be told. Why isn't anyone doing that bit?
Perkin in Senegal, yes. Every bay they passed, they named or renamed with the name of a saint. So, tick in the God box there. But why did Henry the Navigator want to go to Africa? I mean, you don't wake up one morning and think, well, you know where's nice at this time of year? Mediterranean maps made by Jewish cartographers in Majorca showed a river of gold.
Oh. Yeah, they're always looking for that.
Yes, there are no rivers of gold. There aren't any.
Can we be really clear about this? It would be really awkward anyway.
Yes. I keep thinking of Willy Wonka's River of Chocolate and thinking, no, I don't want either. No. Water's for river. Yes. Let's stick to water. Although in correspondence with the Pope, Henry the Navigator stressed the crusading aspect of the voyages and played down the River of Gold bit. In fact, I'm not even sure he even mentioned the River of Gold bit. There was another reason for going to Africa. Hunting for Prester John. Because he was in Africa, or Asia, somewhere like that. But the Portuguese were very taken with the idea that if they met Prester John, they could form a pincer movement with him to attack Islam.
That immediately, you found this amazing mythical African Christian king. Will you attack people with us?
Yes, please. You might find he says, well, no, I think you'll find the Bible says thou shalt not kill. What? God, you're no fun.
We don't read the Bible. Why do you think we haven't translated it into the vernacular?
Well, more of Prester John later. And the reason for Henry the Navigator's sobriquet was that all this exploration was going on in his lifetime. But when he died, so did the drive to explore. Yeah. Until, that is, his great-nephew, King Joao II, picked up the baton.
Okay.
Joao's early life. Joao was born in 1455, and he was known as the Perfect Prince. Not in his own time, but not long after. And not by his nobles, I'd suspect. As we'll see. Isabella of Castile just called him El Hombre.
The man. Although, depending on their relationship, it could be, oh God, that man. Him.
Well, the man was only a month old, or the boy, the baby, was only a month old when he was declared the heir to the throne of Portugal. His dad was Afonso of Portugal. So not Alfonso, Afonso. Mm-hmm. And he was famous for his campaigns in North Africa, and he gained the epithet O Africano, presumably in Portugal, not in Africa.
Yeah, well, this is like Scipio Africanus, isn't it? It's you're called Africa. What did you do in Africa? Oh, you know, the odd bit of conquering.
Yeah. Well, yes, and this isn't exploration this time, because they've explored this bit. It's campaigning in the place they've already been to, which I think might well be worse.
Yeah. Mind you, if their approach to exploring is to burn everything down, what's their approach to campaigning like?
Right, we found that city. Get rid of that. This family has an interesting take on the holy state of matrimony. Joao married Eleanor of Viseu, Viseu. Oh, I put an N in it, didn't I? Viseu. Who was descended, again, from John of Gaunt, via Philippa of Lancaster. So they were cousins, of course.
Mind you, it must be so difficult to find anyone who's not descended from John of Gaunt to marry if
Yeah,
you're a noble.
On this occasion, both sides of the family lead from John of Gaunt, which surely can't be healthy.
No.
Eleanor was an interesting person. She was rich and influential in her own right. Well, yeah, evidently, because he married her. She owned the cities of Faro and Silbes. Now, I've actually heard of Faro. I mean, I haven't been to Portugal since I was a child, but Faro's a famous one.
Yeah.
And she founded the town of Caldas da Rainha, where the waters had curative properties. She also founded the Misericordia of Portugal to assist the poor and the old. So, yeah, I should imagine they all did that, really, unless they were really, really evil. They had one child, Afonso, named after Grandad. Mm-hmm. He was born in 1475, and more of him anon. Not much more, but a bit.
Oh.
Joao also had an illegitimate son, Jorge of Lancaster. Eleanor brought the child up in her household, which might have been an act of generosity, or she might have been told she had to do it.
Yes.
Don't know. Just because, I mean, in these circumstances, just because he's in your household doesn't mean you ever see him, does it?
Yeah, big houses. We can keep them round the back.
And then, and this is the weird bit as far as matrimony is concerned, Joao urged his father, King Afonso, to marry poor Joanna la Betroneja. So, an odd family setup. Dad, why don't you marry your niece, my cousin?
Oh no.
That's not what he said. Oh, no.
God, I'd assumed that the Habsburgs brought incest to the Iberian royal families, but clearly not.
No, they've been beaten to it by Afonso. And we came across little Joanna. I always think of her as little. I mean, chances are she's fully grown. But
I hope so.
Little Joanna la Betroneja in Ferdinand and Isabella's episode, because Joanna was meant to be the heir to the Spanish throne. But after quite a few unpleasant adventures, including having to marry her uncle, poor Joanna entered a convent when she became inconvenient to King Afonso.
Mind you, I always think that entering a convent just sounds like, oh, thank heavens.
Yes, and rest.
I mean, they were full of disaffected or inconvenient noblewomen. I mean...
Well, yeah, she was an inconvenience because she was no longer going to be Queen of Castile. So Afonso thought, right, I'll marry the other one. I'll marry Isabella of Castile. Well, Isabella, as she was then.
Yeah.
But Isabella had other ideas. And we heard how Ferdinand and Isabella sneaked away to marry in secret. Well, no wonder if this was the alternative.
Yes. Just thinking, because obviously Portugal's to the west of Castile and Aragon's to the east. So, I mean, we think of Spain and Portugal as separate, but it could just as easily have been Castile and Portugal as Spain and Aragon.
Yes. Yeah, if you look at a map, they do wonder why Portugal wasn't subsumed. I mean, everything else was. Well, I'm sure we'll find out.
Yes.
Eventually.
Yeah. I think that Philip II did run Portugal for a bit, but it sort of split off again after a while. I think it might be another one of those, there's just two parts of the family that cannot get on situations.
Right. Okay, well, we see those in virtually all of these families, don't we? Hang on. The marriage between Joanna La Bedberneja and Alfonso was annulled by Pope Sixtus IV due to consanguinity. And yet they must have got a papal dispensation for the wedding in the first place. Mm-hmm. I mean, consanguinity obviously hadn't been a problem then.
No.
I mean, with some of these levels of consanguinity are quite complicated, but uncle and niece is a fairly basic one. You can't hide it.
No, there's only a couple that are closer than that.
Yes. And we know that Isabella wasn't universally adopted by the Castilian nobles, at least initially, so there was all the makings of a civil war. Afonso styled himself as King of Castile, Leon, Portugal, Toledo, Galicia, Seville, Cordoba, Jaén, the two Algarves, Gibraltar, well no, that's ours, that one, can't have that, Algeciras, and the Lord of Biscay and Molina. But for all his collection of titles, he let himself down. Mm. He lost the Battle of Toro to Ferdinand on the left flank, while his son Joao won the Battle of Toro on the right flank. So, who won?
So they just basically did a spin.
Yes.
The armies probably ended up on the opposite sides of the field going, hang on.
Yes. Well, Alfonso lost anyway because he ran away from the battlefield, and that automatically loses you brownie points. As we came across in the Battle of Fornova, it's not who wins, it's who claims victory.
Yes.
Ferdinand and Isabella claimed victory, and Joao went home. And I would have loved to have been a fly on the wall when he met up with his dad again.
I put in all that work.
Yes. I can't trust you with anything.
But it really does matter who the leader is, because I remember I was listening to the most recently released episodes of Rex Factor, that's doing the nearly monarchs of England, and Ethelwald, who was the nephew of Alfred the Great, he had a huge battle with his cousin's forces, and they won the battle, but unfortunately he was killed in the battle.
So he lost the war.
So it's kind of like, so actually, even if you win, if your king or whoever's in charge runs off or dies, then no, you're still lost. I'm sorry.
Yes. Yes, it's more complicated than you'd think, really, isn't it, this battling? Afonso abdicated in favour of Joao. I think he was probably humiliated because he set off on pilgrimage to Jerusalem. I'm getting as far away from Portugal as I possibly can. This was 1477. But he was persuaded to come back. Now, was that because he was an exceptionally good king? Or was that because the people couldn't stand Joao?
How long did it take them to ask him to come back?
Within the year.
Oh, that doesn't speak well of Joao.
It doesn't, does it? No. But this is the reason why you see that Joao reigned from 1481 to 1495, with a little bit in 1477. When his dad came back, Joao moved over and let him have his throne back. But they pretty much ruled together until Afonso's death. Mm-hmm. Joao had, quote, an air of such gravity and authority that everyone recognised him as a king, unquote. And that's half the battle, because if you look like a king, you can get away with anything. Henry VI didn't look like a king. Presumably, Perkin Warbeck did.
Yeah. Well, he
and
did.
Joao did.
I mean, you know, we have one sketch of Perkin Warbeck, and he looks almost identical to Henry VII.
Yes. He's got his little Thunderbirds hat on, hasn't he, in that sketch?
And maybe he was him.
Oh,
See our Richard IV episode.
Ruling in his own right. Joao was similar to Henry VII in that he felt it's important to quash the nobility. But whereas Henry wanted to quash the nobility to stop them becoming powerful enough to overthrow him, Joao wanted to... You might have to sit down for this. I know you're sitting... Sit down more.
Okay, just sinking.
Joao wanted to safeguard the rights of his people in the face of the rights of the nobility.
Oh my lord! What? This is communism.
His motto was "For the law and for the people."
Nice.
Yeah. He chose a pelican as his symbol because it was said to peck its own chest to feed its young with its blood. It was such a widespread belief, this, wasn't it? It's yet another thing that doesn't happen. You can add that to Prester John and Rivers of Gold. But it had connections to Christ offering his blood for the sins of the people. So Joao was emphasising his self-sacrifice for his own people. And I don't think we've ever come across a ruler who's even mentioned the people before, have we?
Quite rarely.
When he first came to the throne in 1477, he had thrown titles about like confetti. But he came to regret that. Two of the recipients, the Duke of Braganza and the Duke of Beja, saw themselves as being equal to the king. Well, Joao didn't agree, and once he came to power the second time around, he took steps to prevent the nobility getting ideas above their station.
Yeah.
The Duke of Braganza had told a servant to rummage in a chest full of papers to find grants and titles to his land, and the servant not only found those, but also secret correspondence between Braganza and Ferdinand and Isabella. And that's treason.
Yeah.
So Joao did a bit of a Henry VII here. He had the letters copied and then replaced in the chest, and then he just watched and waited. But it was only a matter of time, and before long, the Duke of Braganza was arrested and executed.
Yeah.
The Duke of Beja had a different fate, because Beja fell for the oldest trick in the book. Joao asked him what he would do to a traitor. Beja said, well, obviously I would kill him. So Joao stabbed him.
No. I mean, you've called it the oldest trick in the book, and that is, a phrase. But it is literally in the Bible. It is the oldest trick in one of the oldest books.
In the oldest book, yes. But I don't see how you could get around it. It's a clever question, because you either say you'd kill him, in which case, obviously, you've set yourself up. But if you'd said you'd forgive him and buy him chocolates or something, that's treason.
Yes.
That's treason in itself.
Yeah,
so there's no answer to the question.
Fair enough.
Which I'm sure Joao must have realised.
Whatever you think is best, O mighty king.
Yes.
Have some money while you think about it.
Well, I think it's best to kill him. No, I don't think you'll ever get out of that. Once he's asked you, I was going to say your days are numbered. In this case, your seconds were numbered.
Yeah, pretty much.
Joao went on to execute or exile a further 80 members of the nobility. And his wife Eleanor was lucky, since Joao reckoned that she was implicated in the plot too. But she got away with it with a slap on the wrist. So when I say he was like Henry VII, he was like Henry VII if Henry VII had been a psychopath, which to his credit he wasn't, because there's been an awful lot of executions so far.
Oh.
As far as I remember,
Yeah.
I'm thinking of 3 nobles that Henry VII executed. We've got William Stanley, we've got Lord Audley, and little Edward in the Tower.
And at least 2 of those did actually directly revolt. I mean, Edward in the Tower.
Yeah, set up, definitely.
Yeah.
But the other 2, yeah. Yes. But it's quite a difference between 80 executed and exiled.
And if we believe the people who are writing about him at the time, he knew that last one was bad because it aged him 20 years.
Yeah, I don't think he wanted to do it. Yeah. Joao brought all the remaining nobility together and made them swear an oath. And it's completely the opposite to the one Ferdinand of Aragon had to swear. Joao's oath said, I am better than you. You're not as good as me. So kindly remember that. You know what happened to the others? He also told them he'd be checking the title deeds for all their properties. And this must have shaken them up, since many of them would have got their properties through the sort of dodgy tactics we saw in the Paston episodes.
Yes.
He then told them they were no longer to be trusted to administer justice on their own estates, because he'd had complaints from their tenants. He's siding with the tenants against the nobles.
What? How did the tenants get to speak to him? They're all going.
Yes. Well, he's decided to take over the judicial administration himself. He employed his own sheriffs, and he established new courts and held elections for judges and stewards annually. So he's doing pretty well at the moment. He seems more like a modern ruler than a medieval one.
Yeah.
He's actually taking the ordinary people into account, and he's not being cowed by the nobility. Mind you, his annexing of the profits from Africa meant he didn't need the nobility to provide funds for him anymore. Because Africa is Joao's alum trade. So like Henry VII, he's economically free. And it's quite easy to be swept along and think, well, that's sensible. He's quite the economist, isn't he? Yeah. But we know what's coming out of Africa.
Oh, yes.
We met two of them in our Columbus series, Juan Garrida and Esteban.
You see, you've done this to me, God, he was all lovely to his people, and he was kind of keeping these nobles down. It's fine because he was supported by a slave trade.
Yes, it's not what we would consider good now. But the extra money enabled Joao to embark on a programme of exploration. And we might think, all right, well, this is going from bad to worse. But for the time, Joao is doing what a ruler should be doing. He's enlarging the prestige of his country. And he really does. It's hard not to cringe, but...
But prestige is an interesting term. It depends who is giving that prestige.
At the time, very, very few people saw a problem with slavery.
Yeah.
In fact, I think we probably met the 2 or 3 that did in Bartolomé de las Casas's episode.
Yes.
Anyway, let's look at Portuguese exploration in the time of Joao. Before the Treaty of Tordesillas, there was the Treaty of Alcasovas in 1479. Now, this is the first let's divide up the world without consulting the people affected treaty. Spain got the new discoveries north of the Canary Islands, and Portugal got everything south of the Canary Islands. So this one drew the line parallel to the equator.
Just trying to think, it's like, so how much do they now own again? They don't know about a lot of it, but it's that.
Yeah, so Spain's got North America, hasn't it?
Yeah.
I think Spain has probably done better out of it.
Yes, there is more land in the Northern Hemisphere. We now know.
Yeah, but Portugal will have got most of Africa.
Yeah.
Following Columbus's request, or badgering, for Joao to fund his voyage west, which the king dismissed since he wasn't impressed with Columbus's grasp of geography, and quite right too, Joao was obviously interested enough to commission a Flemish explorer to sail west for 40 days, just to check that what Columbus had said was all rubbish.
Yeah.
I mean, it would be awful if it turned out to be true and those Spanish got a step ahead of him. I mean, luckily, it did turn out it was all rubbish. There was nothing there.
No. What?
Yes. Probably about another 3 or 4 days would have done it.
Oh, no.
I don't know how. I can't remember how long Columbus's voyage was now. I know it's too long for the crew, and that's why he lied to them about how far they'd come. As we said, as with many European rulers, Joao was very keen to find Prester John. Columbus was also on the hunt for Prester John. It was thought that he was a Christian king in Africa, or Asia, somewhere like that, and that he would help the Christians with their crusade. So Joao decided on a 3-way approach to find him. Ships would try and go round the bottom of Africa. Portuguese-speaking Africans would be dropped off en route, and Arabic speakers would be sent across land to the Indies. And all of these people would ask anyone they came across about a Christian king living somewhere in the interior of Africa, or Asia, or somewhere like that. Possibly China. Probably Mongolia. Bartolomé Diaz was to captain the ships, and Pero da Colvilha and Diogo de Paiva, so I'm just launching into these names as if I know how they're pronounced, were to take the overland route to the Indies. And these two were Arabic speakers, and they'd be all right because they were to be given a map.
Is this the map with the River of Gold on it?
Probably. Yes, I don't think that map's going to be any use to them whatsoever. They took a ship, and I admit I parked Joao for a while here to look at the explorers because some of them are amazing people. They took a ship from Barcelona to Rhodes, where they bought a consignment of honey, So now they're officially merchants. They've got a good reason for going.
Yeah.
They then went on to Alexandria, where they both caught the plague.
Oh.
Anyway, back to Bartholomew Diaz and his ships. The people who were to be dropped off from the ships sailing down the coast of Africa consisted of 2 men and 4 women, although one of them died on the sea voyage. We don't know their names, sadly. They had been kidnapped by a previous explorer, and they'd been taught Portuguese. And women had been chosen since it was thought they wouldn't be killed in tribal disputes. I think that's a little naive, actually.
Yeah.
I think they might face other ordeals. The king ordered that they should be finely dressed and that they should take with them silver, gold and spices. And it's to make them look good, really. Say, look, we're Portuguese. Look how much stuff we've got.
Yeah.
And the idea was they should go into the villages and talk to the people there, since they all spoke African.
Okay.
So one's got a map, one speaks African. It's all going to be fine. I can see. They should tell the people how powerful and amazing Joao was, and in passing they should ask them what they knew about Presto John. So you can imagine the bizarre conversations and misunderstandings that went on. But we'll never know about them because these poor people were never heard of again. I can only hope they were adopted by the people in the villages and went on to live happy lives.
Honestly, take the silver and gold and give it to any Europeans that turn up.
Yeah.
Take these spices and, frankly, these clothes for the value of the cloth, and let's just get back to this.
However, back in Alexandria, Corvilha and Paiva had recovered from the plague and were continuing their journey.
I did think that was just the end of their story. You built it up. We just had 2 corpses and a vat of honey, but okay, we're going on.
No, they're plodding on. They went down the Nile to Cairo, and there they joined a caravan across the desert to the Red Sea, and then on to Aden in Yemen. Then they went on their separate ways. Paiva went to Ethiopia to find Prester John. And this is a sensible move. There was a Christian community in Ethiopia. If Prester John were to be anywhere, which of course he wasn't because he didn't exist, he could well be in Ethiopia.
Yeah, because we do actually have a real Christian kingdom in Africa.
It's not all in their heads. No. Sadly, though, Paiva died on his way there. I mean, it's a horrific journey for him. He caught plague in Alexandria and then died on the way to Ethiopia. Oh. Yeah. Corvilha carried on to India. He caught a dhow to Calicut, and this was a port to which traders from further east came with their merchandise. And we'll be going back to Calicut in Vasco da Gama's episode. And if you want hilarious misunderstandings, we'll find quite a few of them there.
For a certain value of hilarious.
Well, from there, like a student on a gap year, Corvilha went to Goa and then to Hormuz in the mouth of the Persian Gulf. Well, we all know where that is.
Yeah.
He was taking notes all the way about currents and winds and who traded where, as well as about the local politics. He then went back to Africa and made land near Madagascar, and then went back up to Cairo. So he's done a 4-year round trip.
Wow.
And Joao had been wondering what would happen to Paiva and Corvilha. So he sent a couple of men to hunt them out. Unbelievably, they spotted Corvilha in Cairo and were able to pass on the king's letters to him. I mean, Cairo is and was a big city.
Yeah.
They probably got off the ship. No, there he is. His instructions were, come home, because there's no point sending out explorers who never came home and told you what they saw. I felt that Corvilha was a bit like the solo sailor Bernard Moitessier, who was about to win the round-the-world yacht race when he saw the crowds waiting for him and cheering and all the bunting and the bands. And he just kept going. He just sailed straight past. After weeks alone at sea, he just couldn't face it. And I felt that Corvilha was the same. He'd been travelling on his own all this time. Well, probably not on his own, because people were never on their own, were they? But I think the idea of going back to Lisbon and going to Joao's court, I think he just couldn't face it. So
it's a bit like when you're in primary school and I've always enjoyed reading, except when you know that at the end of finishing your reading book, they're going to make you write a book report. It's like, I've got 4 years here to deal with. I think I'll just stay away.
He just sent his travel journal back to Joao with those 2 men. He said, I'm not going. He went on to Mecca and Medina in disguise. Obviously, it wouldn't have done for a Christian to be found in the holiest cities of Islam.
Yeah.
And then he went to Ethiopia, where he met Prester John, the actual Prester John. He wasn't called Prester John, he was called Iskender. But he was a Christian king living in Africa. He was Ethiopian Orthodox.
It's amazing, really, that somehow this turns out to be true. I mean, not true in any real sense, but like true.
I don't know which came first, whether it was vaguely known about the Ethiopian thing and Prester John came on top of that, or whether... I don't know. I don't know how it would work.
I mean, obviously the legend's far older than this specific Ethiopian king, but it's also amazing luck that he gets someone whose name you could sort of see turning into Prester John, Iskender, if it's
Iskender,
like,
Iskender, yeah. He received Colville with great honour. So much honour, in fact, that he wouldn't let him go. Ever.
Huh. Oh.
Yeah. It wasn't quite as bad as poor Esteban, who had his legs chopped off, so he couldn't go. But Colville was still there 30 years later when he was found by a Portuguese expedition. And in fact, he lived there till the end of his days. So I don't know whether he had the opportunity to go back with the Portuguese expedition, and he said, no, I might as well stay here now. It's home.
I live here. Look, I didn't want to go back to Lisbon when I'd only been away for 4 years. Do you really think I want to go back now?
Yeah. I'd never heard of Colville, but I hope he's quite famous in Portugal, because I think he deserves to be.
Yes. And Ethiopia. That would be nice. Just...
It does make you wonder how we know about Colville, because his travel journal never actually made it back to Joao. Maybe those later Portuguese explorers, maybe they said, tell us your story and we'll write it down and we'll take it home. But it meant that all that information that Colville had discovered about tides and currents, and particularly the political climate, that would have made Vasco da Gama's voyage to India a lot easier and maybe a tad less violent, was lost. So, Diogo Cao. Going back in time just a tad, Joao had employed Diogo Cao to explore the coast of Africa. And he also employed scientists and cartographers such as Martin Beham, whose globe, based on the map by Paolo Toscanini, convinced Columbus that China was just a short skip and a jump across the water, because Toscanello had shrunk the world by 25%. So all of these explorers are using these sort of charts. When Cao came back, telling how once you're past Senegal, the coast bends towards the east. So obviously that's the route to the Indies. He's found the tip of Africa. Yeah. Joao gave him a large pension and a title. Cao chose 2 pillars to be his emblem, since he'd left limestone pillars wherever he made land, so that future explorers could follow his route. It was Cao's debriefing that did for Columbus in Portugal, because why would Joao need this strange Genoese man who was intent on travelling west to reach the Indies, when Cao had just found the route to the east, just south of Senegal? So Columbus was sent packing. However, in June 1485, Cao was sent off again and got further this time, which was a pity for him, because he discovered that, yes, the coast heads off to the east, but only for a little while, and then it goes south again. It's just a lump on the west coast of Africa.
And it goes south for a long, long time.
It does. In 1486, Cao reached Namibia and then disappeared from history. So either he died on the way back, or Joao felt he'd been tricked by Diogo Cao and just sort of cut him out of the story.
Yeah.
There's an inscription scratched into the rocks 10 miles up the River Congo. Cao had tried to navigate the river, but when he reached the rapids and waterfalls, he was forced to give up. And they walked on a few miles, and that's where we find this inscription. It's got Joao's coat of arms, a cross, and a list of the captains of the ships on the voyage. So was this Cao's last resting place? We just don't know. The inscription is left unfinished, So it's possible they were attacked at this point, or they were too weak to carry on, or they thought, what are we doing? No one's ever going to see this, to the point of scratching this into the rock.
Yeah.
The last pillar erected by Diogo Cao, which is why we know he reached Namibia, said, quote, "In the era of 6,681 years from the creation of the world, 1482 years since the birth of our Lord Jesus, the most high and excellent and mighty prince, King Joao II of Portugal, sent Diogo Cao, squire of his house, to discover this land and to plant these pillars," unquote. Actually, it was planted quite a bit later than that, but obviously they'd done all the engraving on the things a few years previously.
I'm glad they did that, though, because, I mean, the thought that they were trying to engrave all of that in the middle of, you know, starving and probably being chased by angry locals.
I think you do it all, but leave out the last number of the date. Well, it seems quite a puny thing to leave, to say, we've been here, we've discovered all of Africa. I mean, it's just a 5-foot stone pillar, but it seems a lot more substantial than the American flag on the moon.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, but it's really hard to get a marble pillar into a rocket.
It is, yes. Yeah, no, I'll give them that. And you can't see whether the marble pillar is floating in a breeze either, can you?
Oh, don't.
It wasn't just voyages along the coast that Joao funded. Trips up the river in Senegal and Gambia, and treks on foot across the Mauritanian desert to Timbuktu. As well as Prester John, they were also looking for a king called Mandi Mansa. I feel I went to a school with Mandi Mansa. It looks like that sort of name. He was depicted on a map holding a massive piece of gold.
Here we go.
Yes. I don't know why they thought that Mandi Mansa would give them this massive piece of gold.
Yes.
But it was enough to go traipsing across to Timbuktu. But the Holy Grail was to find the route around the southern tip of Africa. And it was known that it was probably possible to go around Africa since it's mentioned in Strabo, the 1st century BC geographer. And, you know, the classics always get things right. And also we know it from the voyages made by the Chinese. By this time, there were fewer links between the Europeans and the East than there had been in Roman times. Not many of the Europeans had done such a voyage since Marco Polo over a century earlier. And the reason for this was that Christendom had now been encircled by the Ottomans. So the political and religious geography had completely changed. Bartholomew Dias. So Bartholomew Dias wasn't the first to travel down Africa because he was following the pillars left by Diogo Cao. But anyway, on to Dias's story. He was born in 1450. We don't know anything about his early life until he was at the court of King Joao, where he was superintendent of the royal warehouses. We know that he had a voyage on a warship, but presumably he had more sailing experience than that, since you don't tell someone who's been on one boat to lead an expedition to round the Horn of Africa. He was given 2 caravels, which are good at sailing close to the wind, but very cramped, and a square-rigged ship in which to carry their provisions, and presumably all those stone pillars that they had to plonk down wherever they landed.
I hope they also gave them a rope, otherwise it's like the 2 little ones are getting further and further ahead, and all their supplies are disappearing into the distance.
It does seem an odd choice, but I suppose if there's just not the room in the caravels, you want a lot of provisions. But yes, either there's the square-rigged one is shouting, wait for us, or the caravels are going, oh, come on. But either way, it doesn't seem a very good idea. They also had those 6 unfortunate Africans who were going to be plonked down wherever they may land, and whose job was to hunt out Prester John. They set off from Lisbon in late July 1487, and yet there's barely a mention of their departure in the chronicles. It's almost as if they're waving from the ship, saying, we're off now, we're going to round Africa, and everyone's just going, yeah, bye. Cheerio. In fact, the first in-depth description of the voyage wasn't written for another 60 years. And this seems to be the story of Dias's life. I don't know whether he just wasn't very forthcoming. Perhaps he was someone who sort of melted into the background, but he did something truly amazing, and yet no one wants to give him any praise for it.
Sort of like the anti-Columbus.
Yes. When they reached Namibia, they left the supply ship to be picked up again on the return journey, because they're not going to want to eat from now on, I'm sure.
No. What?
They were now battling with winds and currents, neither of which were going in the direction they'd have liked. So they decided to lower their sails to half-mast, move away from the shore and try their luck further out to sea. So they were heading east to try to go west, which seems like a crazy idea, and yet it worked.
Oh.
Not sure it was a fluke or it had been worked out right from the start or whether DS was a genius, but the plan was to go far enough out into the Atlantic to catch the westerly winds. So they travelled for 13 days and 1,000 miles, entering Antarctic waters.
Ooh.
Now, it's a tad nippy in Antarctic waters.
Yes.
And some of the men died. So it's quite a Pyrrhic victory, this thing. Mm-hmm. Eventually, this gamble paid off. The winds allowed them to tack to the east, and they sailed on, waiting to hit the African coast further south. They waited, and they waited, but there was nothing there. Eventually, they turned north, and there's Africa. It's up there. They asked themselves, had they sailed around the tip of Africa without realising it? Explorers had been fooled before into thinking they'd found the route round Africa. Mm-hmm. They made land at what they elected to call the Cape of the Cowherds, named after some people tending their cows on the coast. DS and his men left some gifts on the beach, but the people ran away. DS then took water from the spring, but the people stood on the hill and threw stones at him to frighten him away. So he shot one of them with a crossbow. So you think of all this Chinese approach about not taking but giving.
Yes.
No, DS just landing on the eastern side of Africa, and he's just killed someone.
Well, I will say for DS, he tried to leave gifts.
Yes, he did.
And, he probably was at this point having left his supply ships behind about, 100 days ago, however long it took to do that.
Yes.
I'm exaggerating, I'm sure. Probably needed the water, but yeah, not a good start.
Yeah, and I suppose we don't know, how big these rocks were that were being thrown at them. Whether they were just being sort of lobbed rather desultory manner or whether they were being shot at them through slingshots. I mean, they might have been in terrible danger. Mm. Who knows? But it's not a great start. I mean, this is their first landing. Mm. And already they've killed somebody. They sailed on for another 200 miles while it gradually dawned on them that they were heading north and it wasn't stopping. So it's not that they're in a large bay. They had actually done what they'd come to do.
Hey.
It took them a very long time to think, I think we've done it.
Yeah.
And they noticed the water was getting warmer. Unfortunately, it was really hard work and the poor ships were being buffeted and bashed. DS wanted to carry on because they'd come so far, but the crew were getting mutinous. They were afraid they were getting further and further away from their supply ship. DS consulted the other officers and a compromise was made. They go on for 3 more days and then turn back. They left the last pillar at the mouth of a river they called the Rio Infante and turned around, and it was obvious that DS was bitterly disappointed. But part of his remit for the voyage was there should be joint decisions between him and his officers.
Yeah.
A later chronicler said, quote, "He saw the land of India but could not enter it, like Moses in the promised land," unquote. A certain amount of romanticism there, but,
yeah,
allowable in the circumstances. It's a big moment. The journey home was the first time they actually saw the Cape of Good Hope, as it came to be called, since they'd overshot it the last time without realising it. And it wasn't DS who called it the Cape of Good Hope. He called it Stormy Cape, which was a perfect description for it.
I mean, he was probably a bit down as well, to be honest.
I think he was probably fed up. Well, Joao was worried he might not be able to persuade people to go to Stormy Cape, so he changed the name to Cape of Good Hope. And what of the supply ship that had been left moored off the coast of Namibia with 9 men? When DS and his crew got back there were only 3 men left. The others, including one of DS's brothers, had been killed by the inhabitants in various trade disputes. We came across all this in Columbus's episode as well, didn't we? One of the survivors died for joy at seeing DS's caravel hove into view, which is really hard luck.
Yeah.
And a little bit unlikely. Oh. The supply ship was full of shipworms, so they transferred all the stuff onto the other ships and burnt it. I don't know why they burnt it. I don't know why they just didn't leave it, but... They got back to Lisbon in December 1488, having sailed 1,260 miles in 16 months.
And the size of those boats.
They're minute.
I mean, oh yes, he died for joy. We definitely didn't kill each other out of sheer frustration. He died for joy.
They are. If you go and see Columbus's in Barcelona, it's unbelievable. Or the Matthew in Bristol, which was Cabot's. They are tiny. When Bartholomew Diaz went to tell his story to Joao, Columbus was there. And he wrote about the meeting between Joao and Diaz. Not only had Diaz rebutted Ptolemy's description of Africa by proving you could get round the bottom of it, because Ptolemy had said you couldn't. Strabo had said you could, but he'd also shown how to do it. So don't hug the African coast, go out in the Atlantic and tack back when you get far enough south. But perhaps not too far south.
Yes. If you crash into a penguin, you've gone too far.
We heard in Columbus's episode that he'd been called back to Joao's court, and then when Diaz turned up, he was sent away again, nursing feelings of grievance and humiliation. And he suspected he'd only been brought there in case Diaz didn't turn up. So Diaz is back. You can go away again. If Diaz had been hoping for a ticker-tape parade, he was to be disappointed. People didn't believe him. And also, they said, well, hang on, Ptolemy said it couldn't be done.
Oh.
So it can't be done.
Running around clutching his copy of Strabo. Why is this one less valuable?
Everyone said, well, there must be something further down. I mean, there was when Caio did it. There probably is. They went far enough down to check. I mean, it wasn't what they went down for, but that's what they did. And it makes you wonder why they were asked to do the trip in the first place, if they weren't going to believe them.
Yeah.
It would be a further 9 years until it was fully believed that Diaz had found the very tip of the southern coast of Africa.
9 years.
Also, Diaz was berated for not having met up with Paiva and Colvilha, the two explorers travelling across land. Which seems an extremely tall order for anybody. Yeah, my liege, I've managed to navigate round the Horn of Africa. Well, that's all well and good. But why didn't you meet up with the two explorers? They were in Africa too. You must have seen them.
It's like when people say, "Oh, you've moved to London." Oh, I have a friend who went to London. He bumped into.
And then sod's law you too the next week.
Yes.
Well, poor Diaz was never again given a position of authority. And he hasn't done anything wrong. He's done what they asked him to do. It's just they don't believe he's done it. And again, we hear in Columbus's episode that he was very keen to avoid Diaz's fate. Because Diaz had been away for 2 years and had found the tip of Africa. He'd opened up the route to India. And yet, as soon as he returned, he was completely forgotten. But it was Diaz who was put in charge of redesigning the carracks that were to go on Vasco da Gama's voyage. Yeah, all right, you can't lead the voyage, but you can draw pretty pictures. Because Diaz, above all people, knew how cramped and uncomfortable the caravels had been on his own voyage, so he was able to factor in a certain amount of comfort on these ships. Not much, but a bit more.
Yeah.
Diaz went on the first part of Vasco da Gama's voyage as far as Guinea. But I don't know why he didn't carry on. Perhaps he thought, well, no, don't want to. I mean, he's going to take all the glory, isn't he?
Yeah, fair enough.
Later he went on a voyage with Cabral, who first accidentally went to Brazil and was then caught in a sudden squall which took down 4 of the ships, including Diaz's, and he died by drowning. And we'll be looking at Cabral's voyage in King Manuel's episode.
I'm very interested in...
The man who accidentally discovered Brazil. Well, he took it to heart when Diaz said, right, keep going west, and when you hit the winds, go south and then round. Well, he didn't do the south and round bit, he just kept going west. Then there was an 8-year hiatus in Portuguese exploration to round the Horn of Africa because Joao had other things to do. He was busy with campaigns in Morocco in the 1980s. Not the 1980s, the 1480s. I notice on other podcasts everybody does that. He called Northern Africa the other Algarve and had plans to expand Portuguese control over the area.
Ah, that's a cunning trick.
Isn't it? Yes.
Ah,
Yes.
no, you see, it's not Gibraltar. It's the other Berkshire, and that's why we should have it.
In 1488, he received a crusade edict, which meant that whatever he did in North Africa, it was officially okay because it was crusade. And that made things a lot easier and quicker. Columbus. In 1493, Columbus turned up in Lisbon having missed Spain on his return journey from the Caribbean. And he was able to boast to Joao that, "Ha! I was right and you were wrong. I've sailed west to the Indies and you said it couldn't be done."
Definitely a way to endear yourself to a king.
Yes. Well, yeah, in his own reports, Columbus said he was welcomed by Joao. The other side of the story is a bit different. The Portuguese court found him unbearable.
Oh.
And they didn't believe most of what he said. Well, they don't believe anybody in the Portuguese court, do they? But especially all that talk of gold and silver, because they said, well, go on then, where is it? Well, it's there. It's definitely there.
It's heavy. Do you know how difficult it is to get it out of the ground?
But they had to acknowledge the fact that Columbus had brought back native people from wherever he'd been, and they weren't Africans. They looked suspiciously like Indians. Columbus made himself so unpopular that some in the Portuguese court were all for quietly doing away with him.
I mean, frankly...
I mean, that was Voyage 1. We know it goes rapidly downhill on Voyage 2.
Yeah.
But it would kill two birds. I mean, it would put a stop to Spanish exploration, since they would assume that Columbus had died in the attempt and it was just too dangerous. And it would get rid of this pompous, overbearing git that they'd been had foisted on them. Well, Joao said no. That would be immoral. And anyway, it'd be a really bad move for diplomatic relations with Ferdinand and Isabella.
Yeah.
Instead, Joao sent them a letter. Columbus, he said, had landed in Portuguese territory, as set out by that treaty drawn up by the then Pope, Sixtus. So now he's ours. Ferdinand and Isabella immediately got in touch with the current Pope, Alexander, and told him to do something. Well, Alexander said it was fine, he'd just move the line along to give Spain more territory. I don't see how it doesn't give Spain Portugal, which is where Columbus is. But Joao threatened war on Spain, and the Treaty of Tordesillas was drawn up, which made it more fair to both parties. Alexander, incidentally, was bypassed in the negotiations. Joao presumably didn't think it was quite fair to be negotiating with the Spanish Pope.
Yeah.
The new line gave Portugal Brazil, so, that's quite nice. Although later other monarchs would question the legitimacy of dividing the world and giving half to Spain and half to Portugal, at this point they were the only two nations who were in a position to send out expeditions which could make use of this sort of territory. Possibly Venice, I suppose, but they're right on the other side.
Yeah.
So although Henry VII sent Cabot across northern Atlantic, he wasn't questioning the Treaty of Tordesillas. He was just ignoring it. Oh, I can see the words Joao died. Religion.
Sorry, I think you may have just been quoting all his nobles there.
Religion. Many Jews fled from Spain to Portugal to avoid the Spanish Inquisition. And Joao's attitude to them was, well, let's not expel them. They're bringing in money and skills.
Okay.
Not, let's not expel them, they're lovely people or anything.
Honestly, we're taking what we can get at this point.
Yes, yeah. He charged them 8 cruzados each to come into Portugal, but presumably due to pressure from Spain, he only allowed them to stay for 8 months.
Oh.
The only way to get permanent residence in Portugal was to be exceptionally rich. Yeah. If after the specified 8 months they couldn't afford to leave the country, they were enslaved. Their children were taken to the island of San Tomé, where they were brought up as Christians.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. So apart from Ferrante of Naples, Ecole d'Este of Ferrara, and to some extent Pope Alexander, no one comes out of the Jewish situation looking good.
So basically all the people who everyone else wrote these incredibly wild stories about being so corrupt.
Yep. Yes, there were no heads in jars.
No.
It's all a lie.
Oh, dear.
Succession. Joao was ill for much of his life. No one knows what the problem is. Some say dropsy. But he tried the cure at the spa city of Monchique. And I checked, since we heard that Queen Eleanor had been part of a plot to overthrow him. That's not the spa town that his wife founded.
Yes.
It's a different one. I wondered if she'd been poisoning the waters. But no. There were the inevitable accusations of poisoning, which, given what Joao had done to the nobility, doesn't seem to be completely out of the question. Because his son Afonso had died in a fall from his horse in 1491, there was a succession crisis. There, I told you I'd mention Afonso again. But not much.
What? No. Why do these nobles ever get onto horses? It's just not good.
No. Well, there was talk that maybe it's nothing to do with a horse. Maybe Ferdinand and Isabella had done Afonso in for political motives. Mm-hmm. Also, I came across speculation that Manuel, the next king, killed him. I mean, who knows? Maybe he just fell off a horse. People do fall off horses.
People fall off horses.
Joao was keen that his illegitimate son, Jorge of Lancaster, should succeed him. But Eleanor was understandably reluctant to let this happen. Which is a pity. There could have been an of Lancaster on the Portuguese throne.
Yeah.
Albeit a Jorge of Lancaster. She favoured her brother, Manuel. And Joao and Eleanor battled it out right up until Joao was on his deathbed when he agreed to allow Manuel to succeed him. Mm-hmm. And that's why, although I don't know about the Spanish connection, it seems very unlikely that Manuel killed Afonso, since until just before Joao's death, he didn't know he'd be getting the throne.
Yeah.
Although, given that Joao had personally stabbed his elder brother, I could see that revenge might be sweet. Joao died on the 25th of October, 1495. Legacy. Poliziano, whom we know well on Patreon.
Yes.
But for the benefit of non-Patreon folk, he was a poet and humanist who lived in the Medici court. He thought that Joao was greater than Julius Caesar and Alexander the Great. He wanted, quote, to render you thanks on behalf of all who belong to this century. So that's pretty much everyone we've covered, and lots of other people, which now favours of your quasi-divine merits, now boldly competing with ancient centuries and all antiquity, unquote, which for a humanist is high praise indeed.
Yeah.
He wanted to write a work praising Joao's patronage of exploration. Joao was keen, but he never got around to commissioning it. When Isabella of Castile heard that Joao was dead, she said, El hombre está muerto.
Yes. Which again really depends on the tone, doesn't it? It's either the man is dead or that man's dead.
Yeah. I don't think Isabella ever did anything so half-heartedly, did she? When he was dying, Joao refused to be addressed by his royal title, quote, for I am only a sack of death and worms, unquote. Apparently, he died in great pain. And we hear this because of the pleasure it gave the remaining nobles, and presumably his wife.
It's very unfortunate, actually, that we call it dropsy. It actually sounds like an absolutely horrible thing, you know, sort of swelling and fluid retention. You'd be in constant pain everywhere, but because it's got an inadvertently funny name.
Yes, yes. It's like dropsy, flopsy and cottontail, isn't it? Yes. I bet it's excruciating. Yeah. Anyway, that is the story of King Joao of Portugal, with the gap in the middle when we talked about explorers.
Yeah.
But generally,
I mean,
quite a breath of fresh air in that he mentions his people.
Yeah. If you weren't a noble, and you weren't Jewish, and you were Portuguese as opposed to, say, African...
Yes.
Then...
Or as later we'll find out, Indian. Yes.
Yeah.
Or quite a few others.
Yeah, he was a good person to live under. And to be fair, it sounds like some of his explorers, at least, were at least trying not to be too killy.
Yes.
Just...
Yes, well, next week we'll come across one who wasn't.
Oh.
Vasco da Gama, not a nice gentleman at all, sadly.
Oh, well. Why is it that those are the ones that are famous? I mean, you know...
they're the ones that are interesting.
No, but Bartholomew Diaz, I mean, how can you be... I know he's not unknown, but he's not sort of as famous as Vasco da Gama, and yet extraordinary.
He did the thing. I mean... Being the first to do the thing is being best. I mean, you can always be overtaken, but being the first, no one can take that away from you, except they constantly seem to try and take it away from you. No, you didn't. No, there was somewhere else. If you got a bit further south, you'd have realised you hadn't done it. I mean, why couldn't he have done it? I mean, it's got to be there somewhere. It doesn't
keeps going south, and eventually, turns up in Portugal from the north, having got round Antarctica.
Yes, and he says, I've just been right round the world. Oh, yeah, have you? Yes. So next week, brace yourself for Vasco da Gama.
Okay, suitably braced. Until then, it's always a good trailer for a podcast. Get yourself ready for this one. It's going to be...
But there's got quite a few inadvertently funny moments in that the level of misunderstanding is it would be quite hilarious if it weren't horrific.
It would be hilarious if it wasn't horrific. The historian story. But until then...
Thank you for listening, and goodbye.
Goodbye.